It's Paul Diggy up in Ottawa, working on one of our members' Chrysler Crossfire car. She has an issue with the heated seats. They don't work, no heat, so therefore cold butt. So we're going to work on this, show you a video step by step, and we'll show you exactly what the issue is and how to repair it. So let's begin with step one. Remove the seat belt assembly. So just going to remove the tab, get a number 17 wrench, and then just remove this bolt right here. Okay, once you've removed this, the whole thing comes off. The seat belt is now dismantled from the seat. The next step is you're going to get yourself an external E12. That's E stands for external 12, which is a star. So if you look inside, it's got all sorts of grooves on the inside. Looks like a, well, I don't know what the heck they look like. Looks like an internal star. And what you're going to do is there's 4 bolts to be removed. 2 in back of the seats, 1 here, 1 way over there. And then just pop those off. And then once you're done with those, you're going to go up to the front. You're going to back up the seat and you're going to remove those 2 screws from here also. And those are located exactly right there. Okay, so you got 1 here, right, 1 right there, and the other one right over there. Okay, so remove those. Once you've got that, you can take your seat out of the vehicle, bring it to a bench, and start working on it. I'm going to tell you right now what the issue is, and for everybody to please stop doing the cause of the breaking the wires. Basically what happens is right in here there's some wires that go right in front and it connects underneath the bottom to your electrical system, and basically these wires here, they break whenever somebody gets into the car and they do this because they want to go on the other side, or they'll put their knee right somewhere in here, and what happens is it stretches the wires and the wires snap, and as soon as one wire snaps, you've lost the heat to the car or the heat to the seat. So that's what we're going to work on now. Okay, piece of advice: when you're doing the seat, make sure you tilt it backwards before you disconnect it from underneath and put it on your table. Reason is if it's tilted too forward, you're gonna have a heck of a hard time removing the seat cover. Tilt the seat sideways so you can get access to it. The wire here, there's a wire that comes from the floor, and it clips on right onto here. Pinch these 2 little tabs, 1 right here, the other one on the other side. Pinch them and wiggle it and open it up. That's it. Okay, so once you have that apart, the seat is now free to be removed and brought into your garage or your workbench and work on it. Okay guys, we're in the garage and we're going to start working on the heated seats, and just wanted to show you the bottoms of the seats and explain to you what's going on here. Left hand side is the passenger side, right hand side is the driver's side. Notice that they don't quite look alike. There's more mechanisms underneath the driver's side, and that is to raise and lower the seat. So you have some actuators, you got the little motors, you got the screw pin, the lifting up and down the seat. On the passenger, it's not there. That is why a lot of people keep saying, geez, there's some extra wires and connectors and I don't know what I've done. Where did they go? Where did they get plugged in? Well, these guys, they don't, simply because you don't have the extra mechanisms that are required to lift and lower the seat. I'm going to show you just a few of the I'll show you all the tools you need really for this job. X-Acto knives, they come in handy to separate your pads. You can also use a utility knife. Long nose pliers, a good sturdy pair, good grip. Some Torx bits. You're going to need the 10 and the 15 on the Torx. And if some of you don't know what a Torx bit look like, there's the end of it. So it's the star. Okay, so you'll be needing the 10 and the 15. You're going to need some side cutters, some good old tie wraps. You don't need long ones, short ones will do just fine. A good sturdy screwdriver, multimeter, whichever style you have. If you don't have any, not the end of the world. All that means is you're just going to have to cut your 5 tabs and just do a little bit of digging to find out if your elements, like here, if they're broken and if these guys need to be resoldered. Speaking of soldering, give yourself a good little electric solder. Don't forget the flux, and make sure that your solder is a resin core solder. A little brush to apply the solder paste to the wires, clean them all up, and then you will add a little bit of solder to the tip of your gun, so you're loading your tip up, and then you can go in and start soldering your wires. Take a photograph of your entire seats, where the connections are, where they're located, and how they're located. You'll notice a lot of tie straps. You're going to need to start off by cutting those off, removing them, because they're going to be out in your way and we don't need them there. So remove every tie strap that you see, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start disconnecting every one of these wires. This, not that one, but there's another one right here. Once you remove that, we'll move on to the next step. When the time comes to start removing your electrical connectors, simply push these guys out. They're on a little rail, both of those, like that, and then I'll give you a better access to get to the pins so that you can remove these guys a lot easier. And right there on the side there's a little pin that you lift up, you press down, and it just comes apart. Time to remove this plug right here, this connector. The reason is that we have a wire that goes, it's the black one, or sorry, it's the brown and blue one that goes into the seat onto the pads, and this is where you get a lot of your power for the heated seat. Now, this little tab here, it's simply connected to this white plastic holder simply by pushing it forward. It's on 2 little rails. See those little rails? Right there and right there. So, now the next step is locate the wires that go through the seat. They're held here. Got a little tab you need to lift up. I already lifted up because it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Lift it up. Once you do, you pull it out, remove it, and then you got 2 wires that are stuck together. Now they're not stuck, they're just clipped on together. So just grab your nails in there and separate the 2, and there you are. So again, make sure that you've marked everything, that you've taken photographs of everything you're going to be disconnecting, and make sure that you remove every little tie clips, because there's about 7, 8, 9, whatever. Then the next step is simply going to be, we're going to start removing these tabs here. These are holding tabs. And you grab yourself a pair of long nose pliers, put it in the middle, and then you twist them out. Sometimes easier said than done, but there they are. So it's just a little tab, just a pressure tab. That's all. There's just a little clip on the side here that just locks into place, and when you push it down, it'll hold it down. So you remove this one, then you can start removing this, which locks the entire seat to the bucket. So you have this one here, and you also have one right over here that you also have to do the same thing. Next part here is to remove this little plastic holder that holds your main power. It's an external E10 bit. So as you can see, if you don't have these tools, make sure you get them before you start working on your car, because these external and internal Torx kits, they're going to be vital for you to be able to work on your car with. Once you have that apart, you can now see the entire seat can come apart. That'll be the next step. Now we're back, well actually we're at the back of the seat, and if you notice here, there's these springs. Now these springs, you want to make sure that you locate them back into the same position, meaning You notice how compressed they are here and how they're spacing here. So just make sure that when you do put them back in, you do it at the same top and bottom position with the compressed side at the very back portion of the seat where you're going to be, where you're doing all your work on. So as you can see, here's the back and there's the springs right there. And just lift right off, and yes, your springs will fly off. The springs I just told you about, they will come flying off. So now you just start separating these. You may notice that I forgot one or two tie clips. That's okay. Now we can just separate these two things here. As you can see, there's the basket. All right, let's go in here and let's have a look. There's one screw you have to remove. This guy right here. This one is a T15 Torx. And again, as I said, if you don't have your Torx kit, get one before you attempt this. It'll save you a lot of headache. So again, with your T10 bit, go in and loosen off. Just loosen, don't remove. This guy, this screw, and this screw right there. The reason is as it clamps, this side clamps onto the seat with this side, and if you don't remove it, you'll never be, well, you'll have a hard time. It'll cause more damage than anything else, but you'll have a hard time removing this. So it lifts up, and then back here it comes forward to get out of the way, and see what I mean? So it does this. Those screws will do this. Time to remove the tab. You have a piece of cloth that's folded here. It's a lockdown cloth, so you need to don't pull on the cloth to go over the metal tab. You'll just rip and shred your cloth. So grab the tab, the metal tab instead, and just bend it over and remove your piece of cloth. Continue with removing the cloth all around. Best thing I found is get a screwdriver, get it in here, hope you can see that, and then lift. So I'm lifting with this part, I'm not prying off with this part. There's a channel in here, it's a U channel, and it locks the whole, locks everything out into place. And you get a little tab here that gets a little tricky, but after that it gets pretty quick, as you can see. As you get to the front portion of your seat, there'll be these little metal clips. There's one right there. Okay. Don't lose them. They will come off. Okay. And I'll show you what they do. There's a second and third one right here. There we go. And the fourth. So this would be right where your legs would bend over. So these little clips, as I said, don't lose them. What they look like is this. Hope that's in focus. Where's my hand? There we go, right there. Okay, it's just a U-clip. And what it does is it holds, it spreads inside this hole, this groove right here, and it holds the knee bolster, your knee part, into that groove. Without it, this part will eventually, with time, will pop right out. Now, flip your seat upside down, or right side up I should say, and then just fold your cloth back on top on itself. You cannot remove it at this point because it's locked in with some little plastic clips. I'll show you that right now. To remove the actual seat pad itself, you need to pry this open a little bit, and you'll notice there's a plastic clip right here. And that is being held with an upper metal rod and a lower metal rod. And what you need to do is just grab a pair of long nose pliers, grab it about here, and then bring it down and twist. And you'll see that's all it is. So if you notice, all it is just, as I said, it's a J-clip. And let me get back into focus here. So there's a J-clip. And pretend this is the metal rod below. So it will go into here, clip into there, and that's how it stays on. So when you pry it off, you're actually opening this here, and when you lift up, it'll pop right out. So you have 2 on each side and 3 in the back to remove like this. So next step, guys, you got 2 connectors at the front of the seats. Just unclip them, this guy and this guy. And then you got to come in the back and remove the next set of clips that are there, just like before, like this. And this one here also. Like that. And then what's left is the back ones. Now the back ones, you do the same thing all over again. 3 more in the back, 1 on each sides. Here's where you're going to be spending a lot of your time, and here's where you're going to be doing your resoldering. So you have your power. Remember, we disconnected these guys, and I'll show you why later. It's simply because you want to test some continuity tests later. If you have one of these little handy dandy gadgets, this is a full automatic one. It's a smart multimeter, so there's no adjustments you have to make. You just press it on and it does all of the readings automatically. It tells you your voltage, your amps, everything that you need to know. Now if you don't have one, well, you're gonna have to do the old-fashioned way, and that is you're gonna have to figure out where the electrical wires are broken. Now if you take a look, this is the front of the seat. This is where your knees would be bending over, and this is where everybody seems to put their knees and their hands on when they step on into the car to go grab something. So if you take a look, that same spot there, right there, that's where all your electrical wires are. So the electrical element goes all around the seat like this, and when you press here, you're going to break the wires. So what you need to do is you're going to need to remove these little tabs, and the best way is just use a little X-Acto knife, sharp knife, and just gently scalpel away, like as if you were filleting a fish or filleting chicken breast or something. So you just want to remove the top layer, just remove this pad. Okay, once you get to that pad and this pad, so forth like that, do one at a time. You will be able to start digging in, and you will see where your big electrical connector should be in contact with a tiny little element. If your element is not there, well, now you're going to need to start digging and finding that little element, which is what I'll show you. Let's cut this one. As you can see, hope my head's not in the way, but I am filleting this guy very close to the pad, and I'm just pulling it back ever so gently. Okay. All right. And here's a point that is very important for everybody to see, is when I pull this back a little bit, I can see a slit, as if somebody had already come and cut in there. Well, that's where your wire sits. That was done by, oh, and there it is. This one's broken too. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this guy broke right down here. Let's see if I can get it. See? He's broken there, and he's broken right over here. Right at the tip. So there's another one that's got to be fixed. One thing you may want to also do is get yourself an alligator clip, and I just connected mine to really stiff gauge, really heavy duty gauge wire, and that way there I can connect multiple wires together, and when it comes time for soldering, it holds them in position. I can bend them any which way I want to. But the reason for this one is, since this wire that is inside the seat here goes so deep, it has a tendency to fall back into the hole. So with my alligator clips, I'm going to hold it up. It's going to grab and hold it while I'm able to tin the wire and then solder both of them together. Alright guys, so I'm about to start. So first thing I'm going to do is just put some flux on these wires, And the flux basically is going to clean the wires and prep it to accept the resin solder. So I've got those done there. I'm going to load up a little bit of the tip of my, see if you can see this. Just going to load up a little bit there. Okay. Come in here and then just, there we go, that one's ready. Load it up again. Okay, whoops, a little too much there, that's okay. Come in here, let the heat, and there we go. Now we got those two tips nice and soldered. Now what we're going to do is join them both together, and same process again. This time put them both together. Sorry if you don't see at this point, but I'm going to do the best I can here. Okay. And we got a nice connection right there. So that's what you're going to be doing to each and every single one of them. So you can see it's connected, it's got slack. So what you're going to do is, I put a little bit of white glue on there, all about here, and you know what, I think I forgot to buy the glue. Anyways, doesn't matter, I'll go get some in a few minutes. But glue this all down, and what I normally do to help it stay down is I'll get myself a little bit of tuck tape, T-U-C-K, tuck tape. I'm sure you guys have all seen this on construction shows, DIY shows, and so on like that. It's a very, very sturdy tape, and it sticks to about just anything. So just to show you, pretend I had this glued. So I would apply the tuck tape right on top of it so that the glue gets a chance to hold it, and that one would now be ready. Voila. Now you move on to the next one over here, and to the next one on the other side, and the next one, and to the next one. Alright, after more testing, still 0 results on the multimeter. So came to the last pad, which is the front pad, the right over here where your connectors are, and dug out this one, and sure enough, there's one broken wire. I know it's small to see, but there's one broken wire, and the other one is right down there. So got to fix that one, and chances are if this one's broken, then you got to go and dig on this side. Remove this part here gently again, peel it back like an onion, like as if you were filleting a fish, nice thin layers, and see what that one's going to search out. I'll let you know in a second. So I decided to do a little bit of an experiment, and I noticed that a couple of the pads were working fine. So I decided, hey, let's cut them up open and see what's inside, just how well those wires are still held together. Are they ready to fall apart? And funny enough, they were. So the little elements, they have about 20-25 little tiny wires all stranded around together, and one of the front pad wires, I noticed the element itself, there was 3 little wires still connecting. So it would have been a question of time before these guys would have fallen apart. So my suggestion to everybody that's going to be doing this mod or this repair is, don't chance it. Take off every pad there is, get to every, now when I say the pad, the little round pads, little gray pads that connect the larger wire to the element, take them all off and inspect them and resolder each and every single one of them. There's only 6, so you might as well take the time now and do it, versus having, you know, put the seat back in the car, get all that work done, and then the first time you get in there, you press on the seat in the wrong place, and those 3 little strands decide to pop. Then you're right back at the square one beginning of taking the seats completely apart and redoing this whole thing. Now, one of the issues is this little piece, this large wire here, is held over here with a stitch. just like on this side. So if you see here, you can't remove it. It's stitched right in there. Okay, and not only that, but this wire is also glued right in here. What I'm going to do this time is I am releasing the wire. I've cut it all off from underneath the pad. You can see where it goes. You can see the yellow glue right there. And after I've resoldered and fixed it, I'm going to put this back in nice and loose, glue the pad back on. I'm not going to glue the wire onto this because I want it to have more slack this time. So if someone does happen to kneel or put their hands on your seat where they're not supposed to, this wire should have enough slack to prevent further breakage. Okay, so I'm using well bonds almost anything, and that's so true. So just nice little dab, get it underneath there, get on both sides of your pad. And again, I'm not going to glue the actual wire to the pad this time. I've disconnected it to get it some slack, and just for a temporary hold while this dries, I put some tuck tape on it. Yeah, tuck tape, just like it says right there, tuck tape. Works on, sticks on just about anything, really works well. I mean, you could probably even leave your tape on if you wanted to. So this is the one here. I've got the wires, as you can see, right there and right there. They've been fluxed, and I'm holding them together with my alligator clip so that they don't move around. And got the soldering gun, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tin the wires, and by that you just get some soldering onto your tip and just go after the wires themselves. Get a nice little coating onto your wires. And you clean them all up that way there. And then when it comes time to connect the two together, well, they're already pre-tinned. So now it's just a question of getting these two guys together and soldering them together. That's it. So now we do the test to make sure that we do have power. I've re-soldered every single point. Not going to take any chances. So here we go. Perfect. You know it works. Alright guys, so the clip is a little funny. It's designed like this. Hope you can see that. Okay, there's a little opening right above my fingernail, and that's the one that's going to hook on to the metal rod that's located right down in here. Okay, right there. So the best thing I found is to get the opening down in that position, okay, and press and then push, and then that's it. Alright, simple as that. Do not forget to do this. I did this once, me and Mario, and couldn't figure out why there was absolutely no heat going to the seats. You have to plug these guys back in. So there's a right way and a wrong way, and you can only do it the right way because the wrong way is impossible to achieve. So clip these guys back in. Make sure they're well connected. And now you're going to start tucking in all of your wires, and you're going to start tucking in your seat cover as well. So this is where a little bit of stretching goes along. Seat cover. So these guys, you have to fold it like this to fit right in here, in this groove, right all around through. So stretch it out. Start from the front. Just stretch it out. Fold them in. Keep stretching. Okay, I just noticed I just lost the tab. Where'd that tab go? Ah, right there. Don't lose these tabs, you need them. Put them back in there. Give them a little squeeze. Just so it holds on to the cloth. Now, start over again. Fold and tuck. Once you get to the back, pull tight, get all the slack out from the seat, and then tuck and roll inside. Tuck it and bend it like that. Right. And you may need a plastic bar just to help you out along this. Tuck it in there. Once you get that done, don't forget you need to tuck this guy also in here in the seat. Just like that. And then your locking tab. So pull it up. Bring it right up to your tab, up there. Okay. A metal tab, and then with your long nose pliers again, bend it back the other way. There we go. Push it down. And voila. You gotta move, put your seat adjustment back on, and you need your T10 Torx bit. So what you're gonna do is just make sure that you kind of align your cables up here properly and easily. And what you're gonna do now is invert it so that your cables are at the front. There's a little tab in the back here. Okay, there's little tabs. Look where you're going to be putting them. So what you're doing first is you're lining it here this way first. Bring it down till they get into their positions. Then you're going to slide the whole unit backwards for it to lock into place. Oops. Have to make sure that they all fall into the right spot. And voila. So once it falls into the right spot, you can go ahead and retighten all your little screws, your little pressure points, and that'll lock the system in. Make it nice and tight. Remember that locks into the seat part. Make sure they're all tight. Now change to your T15, and don't forget this little guy that goes right there. Okay, that locks the bracket, your seat adjustment, to the pan of the seat. Now we remove the back seat because on this one here, the lumbar section does not work. There's no heat to it whatsoever. So what we do here is remove the back. Wonder if there's enough light there. Yeah, I guess so. and there's a little clip. Here's those little clips again. As I mentioned before, that's what they look like. Okay. So when you put them back in, just pinch them back together, close them up a little more, and when you put it back on, it'll hold much more easily. So once you have that removed, you need to continue on in here. And you're just going to keep pulling. As you can see, it comes out. It's just bent inwards. On the back, you don't need to remove the whole seat itself or the cover, because all you want to get access to is to these wires here, because this is where your leads will be broken. So in this area here. So you don't have to take the whole thing apart. Just give yourself a nice, comfortable amount of space to work with. Now that you've successfully resoldered your elements, it's time to tuck these guys back in. So just pull and fold. So they fold. So just like the other part, they fold like this. So it goes inside there and folds inwards. So you bend, 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 all in this crease all around there. Once you've done that, you can start with putting the bottom back on. Okay, so now we got the springs put back on. The springs go, see if I can get this, like this. The compressed part, the most compressed part, goes upwards, because that's how they came off the seat in the first place. So one there and the other one right on the big rubber pads right there. And you see these little tabs? Well, underneath there's another tab that goes into here. This guy, same thing there, goes into there. So now you need to slide your bucket into the frame itself, and you're going to notice and ask yourself, does the bucket go underneath or over these square locks right there? Well, they go over it. The seat goes over, so you got to tuck it in. And yes, this is going to fall. And once you do it with two hands, it'll be a lot easier. So you need to pull it back, tuck it, and remember to lift this up too, so that you have room to maneuver back and forth. There we go. Springs are in, cables are there, everything is good. Now, I'm going to put the locking clips back in. Basically, this is what they are. Okay, so, and there's your locking clip. So when you put this in, it'll expand. Expand this, and when it expands, it just does like that and grabs the inside of the seat pan. So, easy enough to redo. Make sure everything's well adjusted, well aligned, and now click in to place. There we go, you heard it. Put your locking pins in, 2 per sides. And there's a stopper on it, so you can't go too far. Right about there, there's a little stopper. I don't know if you can see that or not. And there we go. Right now, the last part you have left to do is just reconnect all your wires the way you had them before. And remember, if you forgot how to do it, go back to the pictures you took way at the beginning so you know where they go and how they hook up. But they're all color coordinated, so you can't really mess them up. And they're only one-way fittings, so. Last thing you have to do now is put your tie wraps and connect all of your wires, your loose wires, back on. There's some anchor points like right there. And what you do is you just pop your tie wrap. Can't see myself there, but you tie it in through there. And tie it, snap it back into place, and you are done. At this point here, all that you have left to do is bring it back into your car, connect your main power, and the main power is a cable that comes in from the floor and goes to right there. And once that, you put in your 4 Torx screws back in, and don't forget to reconnect your seatbelt. That's it. Hope this helps.